Welcome to the Cougar Connection podcast. Today we are highlighting a new staff member in our new Teacher Spotlight series. I'm Macy McLaughlin, here with Mrs. Fancher, who is our new principal here at Atlanta Central. To start us off, tell us a little bit about your family, where you're from, hobbies, pets, or anything that you'd like us to know about you.
Okay. Well, my husband, Chad, and I live here in town. We both grew up here, and we lived in San Jose for 20 years and decided to get back closer to our parents who are getting older and need a little bit more of our help. So we moved back to town a few years ago. I have two daughters, and they decided they wanted to live in St. Louis. And I encouraged them to sow their wild oats because I thought maybe they would come back, and they're still down there having fun. One is a 6th grade ELA teacher, and one is a school nurse for St. Louis Public Schools in the inner city. She loves that. And then my stepson lives in Granite City, which is by St. Louis as well. And then my stepdaughter lives in Buffalo, New York. I have 3 dogs who take up a lot of our time and energy. They're fun. And 2 cats. And as far as what I do for fun, it's always some kind of house project or something like that.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Okay. What? So I know you said you kind of grew up here and lived here. So is that kind of what played a factor of wanting to work at Atlanta Central, or is there other things that attracted you to?
Absolutely. I grew up here. I taught here for 12 years. I got my admin degree, my license, and I went to be an administrator elsewhere. Mr. Jadlowski was the principal.
I know him.
Yeah. And so he encouraged me to become an administrator. I think it's probably because I was bossy and always had an opinion on things. And so he said, go out, get experience, and come back. So I'm back. It's been 11 years. And I didn't think I would be coming back because it was always a high school, middle school combined, and I just didn't ever have a lot of experience with the high school students. But middle school was always my jam. I've been doing middle school for 20-some years, and always loved the middle schoolers. So as soon as I heard about this position, I decided, I wanted to try to come back and be here. So it's nice to be home.
That's good. What made you want to become a teacher or a principal in the first place? You kind of answer both.
Yeah. I always loved kids. I was always babysitting. I worked at the pool, so I taught swim lessons. I was a lifeguard. I did church counselor. And so I always had that draw to work with children. So I went to school. I was going to be nothing above 3rd grade. I didn't want to teach anything above 3rd grade. So then when a position came open here in 6th grade, I thought I'll try it to get my foot in the door, and I absolutely loved that age group. So it's been pretty much middle school ever since. I did do a year last year with 4th through 6th grade, and that was fun. I got a lot of hugs every day, but I do enjoy being back with the middle school students.
That's cool. What is your favorite thing about now being a principal or when you were a teacher?
So when I was a teacher, I enjoyed being with my students, and so I always say as a principal, I get to see all of the students. As a teacher, at least in grade school, you have like your 18 to 20 kids in your class that you see all day long. In middle school, we had maybe 60 to 90 kids we got to see, but as the principal, I get to see all. Let's see, what do we have this year? 130, 140 of them. Plus, then I get to see the high schoolers, too. Yeah. That's been kind of fun. I've really enjoyed getting to know the high schoolers, too.
That's cool. What is something that you're excited to accomplish this year at Atlanta Central?
I don't have any specific plans. I didn't want to come in and make, a lot of changes or think if anything needed a change. Everything seems to be going well. I always say principling is principling wherever you go, but it's how, the systems and how everything works that's different. So just getting used to all the systems and being successful and coming out alive, I think, is my goal for this year.
Just kind of going with the flow this year and see how it goes.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. So now that you've kind of been here for a few weeks in your administrative position, what have you enjoyed? Like, what's been your favorite part?
My favorite part, and I've told my students this, and I've told my staff this, and I really tell anybody who asks me, whenever I meet a student in the hallway, even if it's the high school students, because if I pass a high school student and they don't necessarily know me, I always say hi to them because it's awkward when you're that age and here's an adult walking down the hallway. So I'll say hi and I'll ask them how their day is going. I'll introduce myself. But anytime I see a student, I think 99% of the time, and I've asked them how their day is going, they've said, good, how's your day? And they ask me. So, I'm not, a lot of the students I've had before never really asked that in return. It just shows me what good kids we have here. And I really love that.
That's really cool. I didn't think about that ever before. It's kind of awkward when you're like walking in the hallway and you're like, I say hi, and just kind of like look the other direction. So that's good. Okay. If you could give your students one piece of advice that you've learned from your life or experiences, what would it be?
Everything happens for a reason, and you may not know that ever, and you may not know for a very long time. You may know pretty quickly after. For example, I went out to get experience in administration. Then Mr. Jadlowski left, so I came back and I interviewed for the high school, middle school position, and Dr. Durbin ended up getting the job, and it was okay. I mean, it was probably a good thing. I even knew back then it was probably a good thing, but it's really shown me that it was good that I needed to wait. And I met a lot of great people in the years in between, had a lot of great experiences. And so, everything happens for a reason. And, so that was just an example of the reason why it wasn't for me then, but it is for me now.
That's really wise. And for you to be able to tell that in the moment, looking back, it's kind of easy, like, oh yeah, like it's probably good, but to be able to realize that in the moment, like that's really wise. So I remember how I was as a middle schooler, and I've definitely seen how crazy they can be nowadays. So after you've had a really long day, what do you do to try and wind down and just calm your nerves?
I don't know. I go home and hang out with my dogs and my husband. My dogs are always really goofy, so they make me smile. They make me laugh. Sometimes I'll go for a walk. I might work in the yard, talk to my husband, something like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Who's the top artist on your playlist right now?
So, unpopular opinion here is I don't really listen to music enough. My husband always gives me a hard time because I'll like, who's that artist? Who's singing that? Because I don't listen to music like that. I love music, and I think it's important, but I'm not one of those people that has a certain genre or group or something I listen to. But I do have some podcasts that I like to listen to.
Yeah, so you can share some of those if you'd like. America History Tellers, I think that's what it is. It's kind of a cool history podcast, and they do kind of put some sound effects in the background, like if it's the Civil War, you can hear the bombs or people talking or whatever. And then the other one is History Chicks. It's about famous women in history, or maybe not so famous women in history, but women that have done great things and that we didn't really know about. So it goes back into the maybe 1500s or 1200, way back when. And, it talks about how important some women were in that time, and they list the specific women and some of the things that they've done. And it makes you think, it's not just been since women's liberation that we've done great things, that we've always done great things. That's and cool. That we're finally getting recognized for it. Have you always been interested in the history side of things? Has always intrigued you?
No. I didn't like history in school. I did not like history in school. My mom was a big history buff. She runs the museum uptown. And so you would think I would like history, and I did not like history until I went to college, and I had a professor. And he really, he made history come alive. He was like a storyteller. And so from that point on, I love history now.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
I just assumed that you've always liked it.
Nope.
That's funny. Okay, well, thank you for sitting down with me and taking the time to talk to me. Make sure you check out the next episode of the Cougar Connection podcast, coming soon to you.